Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 23rd chapter. O Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them. That is, the counsels of the ungodly. Verse 2, who will set scourges over my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over mine heart? So scourges over your thoughts are like, if you have, because a scourge is like a whipping, right, or punishment over your thoughts. That, what does that do? It keeps you in check, right? When you scourge someone, it's usually for them doing something bad. So when you scourge them, it keeps them in check. So what he's saying here is, who will keep my thoughts in check, and the discipline of wisdom over my heart, meaning over my mind, right? Who's going to appoint discipline, or who's going to appoint wisdom, okay, to discipline my mind, that they may spare me not for mine ignorances, and it pass not by my sins, right? Basically, that of the things I'm ignorant of, or any bad thoughts I may have, don't let them spare me, because what this will do is it will train me up, in the right way of wisdom, that my thoughts may be guarded by wisdom. Let mine ignorances increase, or lest my ignorances increase, and my sins abound to my destruction. See, so if you don't have wisdom and discipline to train up your mind, you'll continue on increasing in your ignorance, and your sins continuing to abound, to eventually the Lord brings judgment upon you. And I fall before mine adversaries, and mine enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. You see, the enemies, the ungodly that don't hope in the mercy of the Lord. I don't want to have to fall before mine adversaries due to lack of discipline and wisdom. O Lord, Father and God of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind, right? Because you have to guard against pride. Scriptures say that pride is hateful among God and men. So as he's saying here, which is a good thing to pray for the Lord to keep you humble. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence. Let's look up that word concupiscence. Because it's basically like you'll see it, a disordered human inclination toward sin. Fancy way to put it. But here it says here, strong sexual desire and lust, but it's not exclusive to just that. I want the AI mode. There you go. So it says here, concupiscence refers to an intense, ardent, and typically sensual longing or desire. While often used to describe strong sexual desire or lust, the term has a broader meaning in theological and philosophical context. It says here, in Christian theology, it describes the human inclination to sin. Right, that's summed up here in Jeremiah. Is that 17? Is it 17 or 14? I think it might be 14. See that, Jeremiah 14. 14 and I forgot what it is. Let's search it in here. Maybe it was 17. Yeah, 17 and 9. The heart, which is the mind, is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So that is the default nature of the flesh, of the mind, which is inclined to sin. A part of what makes us imperfect. That's the part of the stony heart that we have, that the Lord is going to change. Okay, so it says here, turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Right, and those that desire to serve the Lord will hold them up. He will preserve them. Let not the greediness of the belly, which is the mind, or lust of the flesh take hold of me, because that greediness and that lust can drive you to do things that you should not do. And give not over me or give not over me thy servant, or give me not over to an impudent mind. Okay, a mind that is void of proper judgment. Hear, O ye children, and discipline. Hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. Right? If you discipline your mouth and the things you say, you'll never fall into trouble based on what you say. The sinner shall be left in his foolishness. Both the evil speaker and the proud shall fall thereby. You see, the evil speaker and the proud will fall by their foolishness, by the folly that comes out their mouth. Accustom not thy mouth to swearing. Right? Don't get accustomed to using profane speech. Neither use thyself to the naming of the Holy One. Right? And let's read this in the GNTD. This is Sirach 23:9. Don't fall into the habit of, which, yeah, that also goes into swearing, right? You have the one sense of using profane language, but also here in this context, it's more so oaths, right? If you like swear or take an oath. So it says, don't fall into the habit of taking oaths, and don't use God's holy name too freely. For as a servant that is continually beaten shall not be without a blue mark, that's a bruise, so he that sweareth and nameth God continually shall not be faultless. So if you beat a servant continually, they're gonna be bruised. And likewise, if you continue to use the name of the Lord freely, right, without caution, eventually there will be a fault. A man that useth much swearing shall be filled with iniquity, which is continual oaths, right? We'll read that. We'll read that in the other translation in a second, but it says, and the plague shall never depart from his house. If he shall offend, his sin shall be upon him. And if he acknowledge not his sin, he maketh a double offense. And if he swear in vain, that is, if he took an oath, vainly without intent to keep it, he shall not be innocent, but his house shall be full of calamities. So it says here, anyone who takes oaths all the time is sinful to the core, and punishment is never far away from his household. If he fails to fulfill his oath, he is guilty. If he ignores his oath, he is twice as guilty. If his oath was insincere in the first place, he cannot be pardoned and will have a house full of trouble. Verse 12, there is a word that is clothed about with death. God grant that it be not found in the heritage of Jacob. Okay, which is basically a way of speaking, right? That can incur or lead to, lead down a sinful path to death. And he's saying here, may the Most High grant that, nobody in Israel be guilty of it. For all such things shall be far from the godly, and they shall not wallow in their sins. Sorry, the godly abstain from things that the ways of death. Use not thy mouth to intemperate swearing, for therein is the word of sin. It says here, don't fall into the habit of coarse, profane talk. It is sinful. Remember thy father and thy mother when thou sittest among great men. Be not forgetful before them, because what's a part of remembering them? The way that they brought you up, okay, how they raised you. Don't be forgetful before them, and so thou by thy custom become a fool. See, like you may have a bad habit, right? As I mentioned, don't accustom thyself to, certain habits. You may have a bad habit, but you have to remember proper upbringing, lest out of a bad habit, you go and say or do something and make a fool out of yourself, and wish that thou hadst not been born, and cursed they, or cursed the day of thy nativity. Right? You make such a big blunder in such a public place in the presence of great men, and now you're like, damn, I can't even show my face in public anymore. The man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life. And the word opprobrious means scornful or shameful. So he's like one that cannot receive correction. Two sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind is as a burning fire. And the hot here, it's a sexual passion, right? You're desirous. It will never be quenched till it be consumed. A fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease till he hath kindled a fire. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. He will not leave off it till he die. It's not talking about actual bread. Reading this in the GNTD, verse 16, there are any number of ways to sin and bring down the Lord's anger, but sexual passion is a hot blazing fire that cannot be put out at will. It can only burn itself out. Yeah, basically, if you abstain, for so long, you eventually burns out. But you got some fine shit right in front of you. Good luck finding that demon. A man who lives for nothing but sexual enjoyment will keep on until that fire destroys him. To such a man, all women are desirable. That's the all bread is sweet. And he can never get enough as long as he lives. And there's nothing wrong with, liking women, but, everything has its use. If it's good if used properly. You can't be out here going overboard. A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, that's committing adultery, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me, right? His mind is, nobody's going to witness this. I'm good, right? Who's there? Nobody's watching. I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. See, that's the excuses they tell themselves to go ahead and continue the shit they're doing. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. See, because he's thinking, oh, as long as no physical person is here to see me or catch me, I'm good. But they fail to realize that the judgment comes from the Lord, and he's the one who's always beholding you. Beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts, right? Even your thoughts, your inner most secrets, the Lord sees that. He knew all things ere ever they were created, right? Before they even came to pass, the Lord already knew it. So also after they were perfected, he looked upon them all, right? And said, what? It is good. Going back to the creation. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he suspecteth not, he shall be taken. Because what? The Most High witnessed his transgression, his iniquity, and the Lord is going to bring justice. At a point where he least expects it, boom. Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another. That's adultery. She steps out on her husband and gets pregnant by another man. For first she hath disobeyed the law of the Most High, committing adultery, and secondly she hath trespassed against her own husband by committing adultery, and thirdly she hath played the whore in adultery, and brought children by another man. She shall be brought out into the congregation, and inquisition shall be made of her children. They're gonna inquire, whose children are these? The man says that's not his children, and so what's going on? And they're gonna find out whether she's lying or not. Her children shall not take root, and her branches shall spring forth no fruit. See, so the Lord is not, he's going to have it go ill with them. Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter goes into that, in the 4th chapter. And her branches shall not bring forth fruit, which is likened unto her offspring. She shall leave her memory to be cursed. Yeah, because she's going to have an ill name, and people are going to remember her as that woman, that went and had a child out of wedlock, and her reproach shall not be blotted out. When they think about her, that's what they're going to remember her for. And they that remain shall know that there is nothing better than to fear the Lord, because she's going to be made an example of, and those around who know, look, this is why you don't transgress the ways of the Lord, and that there is nothing sweeter than to take heed unto the commandments of the Lord. It is great glory to follow the Lord, and to be received of him is long life. And that brings us to the end of the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 23rd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.